I have no sound. Do I have sound now? All right, guys. Looks like I fixed that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Hey, guys, and welcome. Sorry about the little bit of a content change. It was kind of a last minute thing. May the Faye, can you hear me now? Okay, good deal. All right. Do I have sound now? Let's see. All right, guys. Looks like I fixed that. Thank you. Like I said, guys, I'm a little bit new at this, so sort of bear with me a little bit. But hey, Jules, how are you? Rion, I see you there. Lady Magdala, of course. Sandra Ramirez, thank you again for coming on last week, where we could talk about how to research ancestry. I'm gonna have that video kind of cut down a little bit and put it back up. Let's see. T Rock's looking forward to this. Thank you very much. Let's see, who else do I have? Gina, hello. Um, T Rock's already said. I think I've got, hey, Cool Frog, how are you, brother? Great to see you again. All right, guys. So I switched our content just a little bit. My planned guest had something come up and wasn't able to be on it, but I did think that this was kind of in a good time for Christmas because I know put a one in the chat if you're going to be out shopping at all or if you're going to shop online on Monday. Let's see, we're getting a few. Okay. So Sandra's got a one. She's going to be shopping. Who else is going to be shopping? Hey, CMS, cleaning, put up the tree. You'll be listening. Great. Gina is going to be shopping. Who else? Cool Frog. Zero. I take that zero shopping. All right. So this is a topic that is very close to me and that I have worked. Secret Squirrel, hello. How are you? I'm glad to see you, my dear. No shopping there either. Okay. Well, whether you're going to be Christmas shopping or whether you buy anything in a store, anything online, part of my day job is I work in banking. Lady Magdala, yes, used to work in retail, never again. I worked in retail for a long time, and the last day I was there, I had to referee two people over an electric screwdriver and decided that was not for me anymore. Cool Frog, I'm with you, no shopping. So, whether you shop for Christmas or whether or not you just buy things in period, identity theft is the number one nonviolent crime across the globe. And I have been in the banking industry for over 25 years and kind of wanted to talk about some ways to protect your wallet and keep others from going shopping on your behalf. So, when you're out, I'm with you. Linda says, I'm with you, no shopping. Yeah, I've already got all mine done. I'm one of those annoying people that get done early, but it's more like because if I don't, I don't have time to do it. So, so a couple things. If you've got friends out shopping, if you're going to be out shopping, we're going to talk about a couple things. Feel free to ask questions. Realize there's a little bit of delay in what I see and what you type, but I'm going to get to you as close as I can to you typing it. So every single year, and I mean every single year, we have a lot of people that come in the bank because they've had their identity stolen, their wallet stolen, their card stolen, all kinds of things like that stolen. I want to talk about some ways to avoid it. First of all, when you're out shopping this week and even through the holidays, even if you're grocery shopping, it's really, really important. So, Sandra, I'm usually done. I'm uncomfortably behind this year. Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. If I don't get done by November, it usually doesn't get done. Make sure that you really pay attention to who's around you. I cannot tell you how many times I get really nervous because I see someone walk away from a cart, especially women, guys. You don't normally carry a purse, but some of you might. And if you do, no judgment there. But you walk away a few seconds. That is enough time for someone to steal your wallet and your identity. And the big thing there, too, is not just getting your credit card, your driver's license. You also pretty much give things that you don't mean to. When I travel, amen, Tish, they attach personal devices, scanners, scammers try to distract cashiers, scam them, pick up pocket check purses. Um, One of the things to think about is make sure you only carry what you absolutely have to in your wallet. So if you have, for example, your social security card, that doesn't need to be in your wallet. I'm talking US because there may be some ID issues in other countries, but you don't need to have credit cards that you're not going to use. And what I mean by that is when people pull out a wallet to pay for things at a store and they've got every single card that you can think of in the wallet. If that wallet gets gone, then everything is gone. If you can, keep your driver's license in another section of your purse away from your wallet. That way, if somebody just comes in and takes it, then then you've got other thing. I'm laughing because my husband's in the chat, Mark Filden. He did help me with the background today to make it kind of Christmassy. So say hi to Mark. I'm honored that he's on. Um, The other thing, even for men, if you carry a wallet, it's a good idea to keep your driver's license in either another pocket or another section. Because when they get a hold of that, they pretty much got a hold of everything. You're hearing my youngest dog in the background. Um, if your wallet ever is stolen from a store, ask the manager to help you look in the trash cans because a lot of times all they're looking for is the cash. And once they get the cash, then they'll dump the wallet. That's your best case scenario. If not, then there's some things you need to do. Number one is make sure you have your credit cards somewhere other than in your wallet. The numbers on the back, and the 3-digit codes. That way you can stop them. In the United States, you're not responsible for it as long as you report it, but that can take some time. So, depending on your bank, you may not get the instant credit back. It may take a little bit longer to get it. So, make sure you've got all of that information in there. The other thing is if your phone number's in there, one of the things you really have to watch for is the scammers, if they're scamming you even more. Now there's technology where they can spoof your bank number and make you think that it's your bank calling. I traveled with my boss for a long time. We're both in banking, and she got a call from Bank of America about a problem with her account. And the more I got to listen to her, the more I thought, stop talking to them and hang up. And she did, and it wasn't actually them. I got a call the other night. We were sitting in our living room, and he had my online ID. He had my mother's maiden name. He had all kinds of information. And just by looking at the phone, it looked like the bank was calling. Luckily, it happens to be the bank that I work for. So I asked him his name and I looked it up. And then, of course, I messed with him for a while. But in the US, no bank is going to call and ask you for your information, and that they're not going to ask you for your account number. And always, if you have any um, if you have any question, hang up the phone and turn around and call on yourself because this happened to happen right after I had called the bank myself about something else. May the Face said, May the Face said, great tip about the numbers in your card in a separate location. Yeah, that's really important. If you have other cards, like any type of identity card, if you have a card with your account number on it, well, that sounds great. Don't keep it in your main wallet. If nothing else, keep it inside your purse. Lady Magdala said the same thing with my hubby. It came up as a bank name on his phone, and he hung up and called the bank. Wasn't them. Yep. So if you get a call, and you will, sometimes because the way that the algorithms are written into the card, if you do activity that's outside of your normal activity, it is going to trip something on the back end for the bank. It's not impossible that they're not going to try to call you, but my 100% suggestion is that they call you and say, "Hey, did you do this transaction?" That you tell them you're going to call them back. You hang up and you call them back yourself. It's a lot safer. KP said something similar happened to me. It was exactly what I did out of abundance of caution. Yeah. I'll be honest, I carry a credit card. I do not carry my debit card with me. So I understand what people think about credit card debt, and I would never, ever, trust me, pretend to say that that's a good thing to do. But the reality of it is, if I do get something stolen, I want it to be out of something I've got time on my side to dispute, not funds I need today. So even if you have a separate card that all you do is put the funds on there, a separate checking account, put the amount on there, and then go shopping with that, you're still better off. Because a lot of times when you're going to dispute items, it bank has 10 to 14 days to get back to you. At least with a credit card, it's not eating into what you have to use for your mortgage or your or anything else. Sandra Ramirez, I only use a credit card too. Yeah. In the US, the protections are different. CMS says, I appreciate B of A's, and that's Bank of America, fraud detection. It's annoying when my larger purchases are put on hold until I verify, but it's an important feature they will never call. Yep. A lot of banks have fraud awareness. So if you haven't signed up for those, take a moment and do. The other thing is if you are still having your statements sent back to your personal home, I would strongly suggest that you rethink that. Especially if you have the checks sent back to you, I would rethink that. There's a new old scheme that's going around right now, and it has to do with check washing. So, what they do is they will take an expired check that you've already sent out of your mailbox. They will say you made it out to the phone company for $30. They will change it to $300 to another business and end up buying something. So that's something else to take a look at. I don't know of a lot of people that balance their checkbooks anymore. We have online banking, but especially during the holidays, make sure you're checking that a little bit more than you would. Only use a credit card too, Sandra. Yep. And again, I'm not advocating for credit card debt. Just to be clear, that destroys a lot of households. CMS never use checks unless I have to. Most banks in the US, if you do have to send a check, and I even do this if I'm doing a charity, I will send it through my bill pay because on the bill pay, it has your name, but the account number on there is not yours. So if you're ever curious as to what it looks like, send $1 to yourself. That way you know how your bank sends that money out. Lady Magdala, hubby was hit because of a scanner at a gas pump. They took his account for a lot of money, and his line of credit happened last year and took forever to get cleaned up. Yep, it does. And yeah, CMS never use checks unless I have to. Yeah, checks are awful. My husband and I were talking about this earlier, and it was not too long ago. People asked you for your social and your phone number that they would write on the actual check, and now I cringe at that. It's a great suggestion. Rebill. Yeah. Wow, check washing. Old school impressive. I don't approve, but I'm impressed. Yeah, it's a big problem. And the thing about it is, a lot of times your bank, depending on how big they are or how much volume they have to get that, even though it's fraud and they can get the money back, they have to get it back from the other bank to get it to you. Also, be really careful about who's asking you for money. This time of year, we're putting a lot of our pictures on Facebook. We're showing holidays. I never post things the same day. So if I'm out with one of the grandkids, I won't post that picture until a couple of days later. You don't wanna be able to nail down where you're going and what your habits are and let them know that you're not at home. I'm a big fan of saying anyone will do anything under the wrong set of circumstances, and people that you know casually and that you trust, they could make the wrong decision if their back's against the wall and they feel like they don't have a choice. KP, I simply refuse to give my social security number, and if I have to walk away from a purchase, I will. Don't care. Yep. The other thing is as you're shopping, and this isn't true identity theft, but make sure that you listen to the cashier when they're asking you questions. Things like, do you want to round up $1 for the homeless? Do you want to try magazines? Best Buy used to be one of the most notorious for this. You want to try a magazine subscription for 30 days. 6 months later, you realize that you've been hit for about $25 a month and you don't know where it came from, what came from that free. So if something's free, then you're the person being sold. So kind of keep that in mind. CMS, I use auto bill pay on credit cards and utilities. I want them paid off every month so I don't miss a due date. Yep. Yep. Agreed. Everything you can do automatic makes it a lot easier. So we're talking about going to shopping, make sure that you, if you've got little ones that you give money to shop to, that you teach them about, really watching people around. Best Buy is horrible for all the extras you don't need. Yeah, I don't know how they are now. I know how they used to be. I did have a customer one time at another bank I worked for, realized 3 years later that the comment was, "Hey, the bank's taking my money." So I sat down with them and went through his stuff, and it ended up being that Best Buy had added on magazines, and he had been paying that $20 for 3 years. So after 3 years, there's not a lot we can do to help. Rian said it's great advice to post pick later dates, and some people it's not wise to post photos of hundreds of presents under your beautiful tree. Yeah, yeah. I mean, we get really, really comfortable with strangers. That used to be the stranger danger, don't talk to strangers. But when you look through your social media feed, you may or may not actually know everyone that you think you do. Um, so when it comes to, um, want to move from there to make sure you've got a plan from a safety perspective if you are shopping with little kids. The malls are busy, Walmart's busy, all of those. I'll put a link in the description later, but make sure I talked about this a couple weeks ago, that you have got recent information, especially on kids that are 0 to 18. Tennessee has something called a Kid Kit. It's TN-KID kit. And basically, it's a form where you list everything about any child that's in your household, everything from their height, their weight, any medications they're allergic to. Because if they get separated from you, it's a lot easier to have that information to give to law enforcement than to try to get it together. Most of the time, we have pictures in our phones. That is a form you can also take a picture of and kind of give out. Let's see what else we've got. Okay, cool. Um, Cyber Monday. Monday will be the biggest time of the year that people will shop online. We didn't always have this, and I'm not sure exactly when it started. But when you're shopping online, be very careful about the sites that you go to. You're going to get a lot of things in your media feeds. You're going to see on YouTube where they have different affiliate links. You're going to see, you're gonna inundated with offers. But the problem is, it's really hard to know what is truly from, say, Amazon, because you have an Amazon account, and what's actually trying to get your information. One of the biggest things I can tell you is always look at the top of the email. Look for any misspelled words. Look for at the from. If they're from a Yahoo account or a Google account or a Gmail account or something like that, or they have an extension, like one of my websites is tish.social, that's not out there yet, that would not be one you would want to trust and click on. The whole name of the game is to get your information. One of the things that I've seen happen in recent years is I get your information, I open up a credit card in your name, but I put a different address on it that's a PO box. I'll pay the minimum payment for a while until that's maxed out. So then 3 and 4 years later, you realize that you've got a miss. Let's see. Sandra Mayer for your gift. I think we got some gift memberships going through. Hey Aaron, nice to see you tonight as well. So the other thing is, make sure that in January you check your credit report. In the US, you're entitled to it once a year for free. But also consider some type of credit monitoring. Usually it's about 20 bucks a month through Equifax. It's worth it. I will say, I don't do lending and that kind of thing anymore, but it was rare that I didn't see a credit report with at least one mistake on it, let alone something that was out and out fraud. The quicker you get it, the quicker you know it, the quicker you can fight it back. I'm looking for, oh, Sandra, looks like gifted some memberships. Thank you. Rihanna, yeah, Best Buy's terrible. Hey, Aaron, have a good night if you're going to sleep. I know what that's like, needing some sleep this time of year. Hang on a second. Sandra, thank you for the gifted memberships. T-Rox, thank you for letting me know. I just saw that. Hey, Lori, how are you? All right. So let's talk about if you do get your Oh, another thing. When you're going out to eat, if you do decide to valet, make sure you don't have anything in your glove box that can identify you and only give them what they need to operate the car. Don't give them the entire set of keys. You give them the entire set of keys and you have got any personal information in that glove box, and you've basically given them a easy way to access your information. Absolutely. Thank you, Sandra, anytime. Hey, Lori, because you want to protect who you are and where you are, we get really comfortable. This has happened to us before where it looked like somebody had taken a key off of a key ring. We've had a lot of people that unfortunately have had tragedies just because they're not paying attention. And I can talk to you too, just general safety. Some of my friends in the neighborhood, their two daughters noticed they were getting things for Thanksgiving dinner, and two men were following them. And these are two, 19, 20-year-old girls. Got to noticing that the men did not have a shopping cart. They didn't even have a basket. And as they were following them, they were a little bit behind them. If you ever, and these girls did the right thing, if you ever think somebody's following you back from a store, home from anything, don't go home, go somewhere else, either call the police ideally or call somebody else. You definitely don't want to lead somebody accidentally back to your home. That's happened several times, and it's a dangerous situation to put yourself in. Let's see. Sandra, thank you. Uh, So if you do find yourself the victim of identity theft, or your credit card's been lifted or something like that, the time is crucial. The time to report it is crucial. Um, Call your bank immediately. All of them have a 24-hour hotline number. Check your other accounts to see if they've been compromised. Look for anything new. I don't know if a lot of people know, but at a lot of stores, if someone wants to offer you a store card, all they've got to do is scan your check card or another credit card. It'll run a soft credit card report. So if they've got one card, there's a good chance that they can open them up very quickly. This time of year, if you know that you're not, oh yeah, Catherine said, I've been followed while driving. I drove to a police station. Driving to a police station is great. What's better is letting them know that you're coming on the non-emergency number, because depending on what the police where the police station is, the one in my town, for example, you may only see 3 or 4 actual police officers at the police station because um, they're out patrolling. Let me go back to comments. Hey T Rocks, I just saw your message. I'll get to that in just a second because you should already be a mod. Followed while driving, drove to a police station. Yeah, get somebody on the phone that knows you. If you're bumped in a car accident, don't get out of the car. And that seems to be what you want to do. Somebody tags you, you want to get out, you want to look at the damage. A lot of times that's not a good idea to do, especially if you're by yourself. And especially if you've felt like you've seen that car following you before. Make sure if you're traveling that you let your credit card company know as well as your bank know. I travel normally to 3 states. If I'm in those 3 states, it's not going to trip anything. But if I go to, say, Florida, which I don't normally go to, it would. Catherine says before mobile phones, as soon as I pulled up, the car drove off. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was like before mobile phones, even though I know we haven't always had them. Same as I picked my PS5 at BB last Christmas, and they handed it to me without a bag. I told them there's not a chance I was going to walk through the parking lot with a visible box. Yep, because that's a good way to make yourself a target. Also, make sure that if you have a trunk, that you put items in the trunk and don't put them in there visible. Um, I'll check that. I may have. I'll make sure. Best Buy, that's okay. Um, Sorry guys, I'm trying to do this a little bit. Make sure I don't miss anybody. Yeah, May, I will check that here in a little bit if that's okay with you. Let's see. All right. So, what if you do think that you've been the victim of any type of theft? You're going to want to get a police report, but in most states, you don't want to call the emergency number. This time of year, especially, they have got a lot that they're trying to run down. Calling the non emergency number will actually get you help that you need first. Aaron, I had my phone lifted for my mobility scooter a few years ago, so I had to change passwords for Amazon and Google Play straight away if you have phone apps. Yep. And make sure that you do not pick something easy if you have your phone password. 1234 is probably not what you want to pick. Something somebody would not guess. Hey, Scott, no problem with being late. Gina D, I've always put my shopping in the trunk. Better safe than sorry. Yeah, better safe than sorry. Absolutely. Because you want to make sure that you don't make yourself a victim. Secret Miss Squirrel, police don't seem to care most of the time. So I think that depends a little bit on where you are and what's going on. Depends on how you approach them. If you, it's the sad reality of this is CMS became a new member. Thank you very much. The sad reality is, as far as prosecuting identity theft, it is a losing game. Police tend to put resources where they think they can win. The chances of them catching somebody are very, very slim. That's why a lot of times it doesn't seem to get a lot of attention. But depending on your credit card company or your bank, you are going to need that police report to be able to make any type of dispute. Another thing is really, really be careful when it comes to ATMs. Be careful when it comes to getting gas. Pay attention to your news. When they tend to hit gas stations, they tend to hit them in an area for a while. They'll put a scammer on it. If you see, for example, brochures that are beside a gas station, they don't usually put them there. A lot of times they'll have little bitty cameras, and the cameras can be about that small. Hey, Linda B, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate it. T Rock said they usually have so much to deal with and they expect you to deal with the banks and creditors. So you have to push the information for police service. Yep. And unfortunately, that absolutely is true. Um, it's just one of those things where there's only so many people and there's so much you have to be proactive. T Rocks, they usually have so much to deal with. They usually expect you to deal with the banks and creditors. Yep. So you have to push to get the information. May the Fae, there are wallets and purses that have the RFID blocking in them, which is helpful, but not 100% guaranteed. Yes, they are helpful. Um, they're not perfect because there's a lot of people that have found ways around them now, but they're still better than not having anything. Again, making sure that you have what you need when you're out and about, but that you don't have too much. There's no reason to have every single credit card that you own in your wallet. There's no reason to have, you know, if you have like we have combination locks on our house to be able to enter it, but that combination lock number is not in my wallet anywhere. Everything that you can do to keep yourself safe, especially kids. If you do have a teenager that has their own account, that's great. And if they're responsible, fabulous. But this time of year, you want to really teach them to keep an extra special eye on it. So if you do think that your card, oh, another, just to back up a little bit, another thing to really watch is if you can avoid them, I would not make a habit of using anything that looks like it's not, that people don't use a lot. And what I mean by that is if you go here, we have Redbox where you can rent movies. But if it's somewhere that's obscure, I wouldn't card in it. If you are in the mall and you can avoid using the Coca-Cola machines, for example, that's something that's they love to put the identity things on. You just really have to be very proactive because we're busy, right? We're all busy, and a lot of times we don't want to pay attention. We want to get home, we want to get there, but if we're not really careful, we can make ourselves a victim without meaning to. Let's see what else. I don't think I missed anybody. Okay. I don't think I missed anybody there. So if you do think that, okay, sleeves for ones in my safe. Yeah, there's another thing where you can, there's different devices you can get on Amazon where you can keep your cards physically on you. I don't normally carry a purse anywhere, just to be honest with you. I usually have my what I need somewhere on me. Again, just because I don't want to make myself a victim if I don't have to. So if you do find that you are, oh, it seems to be a press to pay. Yeah. Aaron was talking about, you end up having to pay for things, and that's true. A lot of our goods and services that we buy are almost double, and that's to make up for the cost of what has been stolen. So if you do find that you're the victim of identity theft, there are some things you're going to want to do immediately. We talk call it getting a report. That's not immediate. You can do that the next day. We talked about calling your credit card company, and we talked about calling your bank account. If you have any phone numbers in your wallet, you may also want to warn those people. So if you carry around an address book, for example, or if you have your emergency contact, you may want to let those emergency contacts know. Facebook is awesome for keeping up with family, but Facebook, Twitter, all of that can really make you a victim. If you get a call saying a relative has been in a car accident, you get a call saying a relative's been arrested, you get a call saying that someone needs you to wire them money, be really, really suspicious of that. Older people are falling for this a lot. What will happen is the perpetrator will call them and say, "Hey, your grandson was skiing Aspen and he's broken his leg. I need you to send $500 so that we can make sure we get him some help." Well, what it is they've searched Facebook, and yes, the grandson was skiing in Aspen. So the grandparent thinks, "Oh, wow, they know where they've been, so this has to be legit." Hey, Brandy, thank you so much for the 9.99. I appreciate that. Let's see what else. There's been a lot of scams recently in the UK. Aaron said, yeah. CMS, I'm going to put this up. I use contactless purchase whenever possible, so I'm not handing my card to anyone or having it hang out of the card reader for 20 to 30 seconds. Yeah. Be careful too when you're going to restaurants. When you go to a restaurant and say leave a tip, make sure that you write that tip very, very clearly and you snap a picture of that receipt. $3 can very easily turn into $8 pretty quickly. And we've gotten to where all we're looking for is things to clear and we're not actually looking at the amounts. Little bits add up over time. So if you look at your account and you just don't seem to have as much money as you should, go back and look at those individual purchases and see what's going on. Yeah, Aaron, it's a lot here too when it comes to ID theft. We luckily have not been the victim of that. I did have a problem where my now 30-year-old was sent a $50,000 credit card. I named him very closely to my brother, and somehow his information got mismatched. It took me 3 years to get that off of his report because he was under 18. Yeah, any way you can avoid having your card taken away from you out of your possession. I even sometimes make decisions on where we're going to eat, whether what based on whether or not I can actually pay it. I absolutely know somebody who made a 3.99 purchase and it was changed to a charge for 399. Yeah, and the thing is, if you're not really paying attention to the items that go through your account, which believe it or not, a lot of people don't catch that for a while until you've got a bill that you can't pay. Yep, I don't think I missed anybody. T-Rocks, yep, 399, charge 399, and that is what they're doing with a lot of wash checks too. They're adding a zero, they're making it out to somebody else. It's kind of interesting because if they took all the ways that they came up with to try to defraud everybody, they could probably come up with something really, really helpful, but instead they don't. So if you find, like I said, if you find yourself a victim, make sure that you contact everybody, make sure you contact your loved ones. The other thing I want to talk about is charities. And guys, this time of year, there's a lot that are asking for your attention, but then there's also a lot that legitimately need help. Sandra Ramirez, I check my accounts every morning. I do as well. If you have any type of alerts you can set them up. If your balance falls below a certain amount, for example. T-Rex, I get in the habit of checking purchase and transactions regularly to look at and catch the issues quickly. Yeah, before they snowball. Charities this time of year, we have a lot of people hurting right now. We have a lot of people that, even if they're working, it's not quite covering what they were before. We have a lot of people with medical and that type of thing, really, really be careful with who you're giving your money to. Um, I would say as much as you can do that local. I'm a big advocate of shopping local, and I'm a big advocate of giving local. If you have a local charity, a charity through a church, even if it's not the church you go to or you don't go to church, um, there's a one down from us that does a food drive every week. There's a men's shelter here that you can go and drop turkeys off at. Anytime you can go local. Because the more, number one, where you're giving your money, a lot of it goes to admin. But then number two, a lot of scams come along with that, asking for money. Jules says, I get a lot of scam emails and the number seems to be increasing. Yeah, yeah, they do. And you can block those from your email, but after a while, it just gets to be too much. I would suggest if you can have an email that is just for your bills. That's it. So just for your banks, just for your credit card companies, because with so much scam mail that comes through, you don't want to accidentally miss something that was important. And it's really easy to do. I think I looked at my main account the other day and I have like 800 emails. So trying to go through 800 emails, that's a lot. Jules, even through text, that upsets me more than emails. Yep. Never buy. If I have to purchase something through text, I don't do it. Now, a lot of times I will sign up for text. I used to get a discount or something like that. If you're doing that, but you're not going to shop that way, all you have to do is text back stop in the US, and they have to stop texting you. The least amount you get, the less temptation it is. Lady Magdala, yeah, it's sad. Um, it's sad they go after the charities. It keeps the whole ruin it for everyone thing. Yep, it does. It does. Um, Mostly from delivery companies here in the UK. So when you say delivery companies, are you talking about like that's delivering packages or something like that? Or what are you, when you say delivery companies, I'm not exactly sure what you mean. The other, the porch pirates here in the US, that's a big thing. If you know that you're going to get a lot of packages, I am a huge Amazon shopper. I'm going to go ahead and tell you that. Sometimes we know when Amazon's going to come. A lot of times, if it's not something I have to have immediately, you can select for it to come on your normal delivery day. So our normal delivery day is on Thursdays. So we know when it's going to come. I'm very lucky. My husband's home all the time. But if you are gone a lot, you may want to consider having something sent to someone else's home that's going to be home. Two things there. One, the longer that those packages sit there, the more likely they will be stolen. But then two, the longer that they sit there, the more you're advertising that you are potentially not home. And that is something else you want to really be careful from. Let's see. Uh, Tish, yes, set up alerts with your bank and credit card companies for any activity. So if you get one noticing somebody uses your account, yeah, and really look at the small, transactions as much as the big ones, because again, people know that we're looking for the big ones. A lot of times it's a lot of little ones and you're not paying attention. CMS, I got screwed when I made a donation over the phone and somehow someone claiming to be from a state police organization done because I know better. That happens a lot. And sadly, too, if you have an accident or something major that has hit your news cycle, that is what they will call about. We had a plane with some people go down in this area, and unfortunately, all three were killed. And we got text messages and emails and calls over trying to raise money. Some of the GoFundMe accounts are great. Some of the GoFundMe accounts are scams, but I would much rather do something where I go search down how to give than someone calling me. I'd rather be proactive when it comes to giving out my information. CMS worse. Guilt trips included. Yep, guilt trips included. Jules, they want to deliver a parcel, but they're asking for an extra delivery fee. Okay, yeah, that happens as well. Really look at what you're being charged and look at if someone has extra. I will tell you, not too long ago, my husband's phone got. I think actually we left it laying down, is what I think we did. But I got a call on my phone saying, hey, I'll give you your phone back for $1,000. I don't think he was expecting a police officer to show up in uniform to retrieve the phone. So I've always been lucky of who I'm married to, but that can happen a lot. If you are going to buy something from someone third party, there is a lot of online garage sales, Facebook Marketplace. Never let them come to your home. Always arrange pickup in a public place that is open. Be really careful about that. If it's Sunday and they want to meet you in the Chick-fil-A parking lot, that's going to be a no because no one else is around to kind of see what's going on. If possible, do not ever meet someone like that without having somebody with you. Even when my husband and I go, a lot of times we'll pop one of the dogs in the car because there's nothing more intimidating than them growling at you and you think they're going to eat you even though they wouldn't. That way you've got a little bit extra backup there. Um, let's see. Jules, I'm used to, May the Face said, I am used to getting emails every day. I can tell the scam ones by the font. I check them about 4 times a day. I keep maybe one. Yeah. Also, if you have Outlook, you can right click on your inbox and click clean up folder. And what it'll do is it'll delete all the duplicates and leave the top one. That can help go down a little bit too. Courier companies contact by delivery. Nope. Yep. And some places too have Amazon lockers. There's one at the Ross store not too far from us. So if you know you're not going to be at home, you may want to take a look at doing one of the Amazon lockers in the U.S. that's in the States. T-Rocks, people are getting and making special boxes of delivery can be, but they require a key to prevent warp. Yep. And I know too that Amazon has some services now where they'll even bring it in your house. I may get comfortable with that eventually, but right now I'm not comfortable with that. A video doorbell is a great investment. CMS, I keep it armed 24 hours a day. Yeah, we have one. A Ring, and if you the prices on those have come way down, so you don't necessarily have to have it monitored. But if you do have some type of video, it's really helpful. The only thing that you want to bear in mind is if something does happen and you get it on video, not all police departments have the technology to pull that video into something that they can see a lot of detail on. So kind of keep that in mind when you have them, but they are really good to have it. Um, Catherine, May the Face said my coworker gets those um, kinds of texts almost weekly. Yep, we get a lot of them. Let's see. I want to make sure I did not miss anybody. Um, yeah, and when you're going home this time of year, make sure that no one can nail down your habits. Just by nature, we tend to be creatures of habit. But as you're leaving work, go a different way home, even if it's a little bit longer. If you go to the same store, so if you go to Kroger close to your house or Publix, which is a store here, go to a different one. People really watch for habits, and it can make you a target if you're not very careful. T Rock said, make choices and decide where you want to make donations and be proactive about the charities you wish to give. Avoid becoming a scam. Yep. A lot of times, if you want to really reach out and help a family at random, you can contact Crisis Pregnancy Center. You can contact um, some of your veterans associations, and they can be that mediator to you. So you don't actually have contact with the people that you're donating to, and they don't know who you are as well, but you're still able to help somebody. Um, yep, T Rock said, yes, please hit the like, the subscribe, all the YouTube things. We will have if you want to start your small business next week. It's just my guest had some stuff happening and could not come on today. Sandra, we have a seven camera system around our house and love it. Yeah, and if you don't want to put money into something like that and you just have a camera, look on YouTube. A lot of times there's a whole lot of instructionals on how to kind of make your own if you don't want to actually buy it. Because I know this time of year there's a lot, but just a little bit of investment can really help. I saw that on Facebook. Be careful too about who comes to your door with a lot of deliveries. We as people will be more likely to open the door now than they normally are. Let's see. Linda B. I had my phone stolen. Then the guy bought it from Craigslist, calls and asks me to unlock it. That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. That sounds like something that would happen to me. I I've put a few of my husband's police stories up, but I guess the one that kind of sticks with me the most is a guy calling to complain that he had a TV stolen when he had actually stolen the TV from somebody else. So he called the police because his stolen television got stolen. It's funny. Gina D. Oh, Aaron said never let someone who isn't a professional come in your house who hasn't got a prearranged appointment. And even if you do have a professional in your house, make sure that you keep an eye on them. Yes, a lot of them are bonded or insured if they say knock over a lamp, but it's really easy to put, say, a ring in your pocket. We have somebody comes in our house and helps with some things that I've known for a long time. I never will leave a repairman or anyone else kind of on their own because even if you trust the business, you don't know how well they've screened their employees. Just to keep yourself safe and to keep them honest. I'm a big believer of don't give anybody the opportunity to take advantage of you because again, you don't know what that person's going through, and you may make it easy and it accidentally easy for them to make a bad decision just because of things that you do. If you've got somebody coming in to repair, I'm not saying be right in their way, but don't necessarily if they're repairing something in the kitchen, don't give them access to the entire house. That happens quite a bit. Okay. Yep. I missed one that I wanted to go back and see. Gina D asked a question. Um, have you or your hubby heard about the zip ties on your car door handle? They're marking you and watching you. I have heard of that. I will tell you, my husband's been retired for a while, and my son is a lieutenant, and I've heard of them talking about it, but not actually witnessing it. I do know we had a rash here of people would slice your Achilles tendon with a knife because they were under the car. You just got to really be careful. It's worth it to walk around your car and see what's going on. CMS said my employer offers a service I can donate to nonprofits from every one of my paychecks. I don't know if that's common though. A lot of them do, and some of them don't advertise it. So like where I work, with a set charities, they will give 50 cents on the dollar to what I give. So even if they don't advertise it, it's worth checking on your employee benefits page to see if they have any type of foundation because that makes your money go a little bit further too. Um, Sandra Ramirez said Mike had a call yesterday. He wanted to report his pot as stolen. Yes, my husband's had that happen as well. He's had them call in because their illegal substances were stolen and they wanted him to do something about it. He wrote a book that's no longer in print, but I'm going to pull some videos from it called Music City Blues. Um, I did put up a video not too long ago about how they were helped by a dog, where this two boys had broken into a house. They were basically chasing them. They ran to the woods. Mark and his partner went around, and he could see them, but he wasn't sure if they were going to run or what they were going to do. There was a dog playing around their feet, and the suspects mistook it for a police dog. It wasn't a police dog. It was just a random dog that was playing around. Um, Yeah. T-Rex, hide your valuables. Yep, and keep an eye on them. It's also easy for them to grab things. And the other thing too, and I'm laughing because when I worked in retail, I used to pay the bell ringer to stop ringing for a minute. Um, things like that, if you want to donate to, that's great. But don't open your wallet to show how much money. If you go to a local store that has, say, a Salvation Army, which is what's here, Red Kettle, that's okay. But keep that in your pocket. Keep that change in your pocket. If you know that you're likely, and here we have a lot of people, um, that held up the signs, and sometimes we do give money to them, but when we do, that money is readily available to where I'm not getting in my wallet and I'm not digging through a bunch of different bills to show them how much that I have in there. I'm just giving them what's in the front pocket. Aaron said we had someone use our back lane to store stolen bikes. Took the police 3 days before they responded. By the time they came, the thieves had come back and taken them. Yeah, yeah. And guys, even though like I said, we're pro police, but we know how that can go at the same time, meaning there's a lot of police officers that are fabulous. They want to do a great job. There's not as many of them needed to do what they need to do. And there's a lot of them that just kind of are not responsive. And it just depends on where you live as to how that if it is. But yeah, it's sad because I'm sure some people will love to have their bikes back. The other thing, and this is something, before I was in banking, I was in loss prevention. So yes, I was that crazy person chasing out a shoplifter. If you purchase a diaper bag, a purse, um, a big box item, it's probably worth it to look and make sure nothing's inside it, number one. But number two, if you see where someone who is, say, a store detective is trying to arrest or take down someone who's shoplifting, please don't get involved in that. I used to have a lot of people try to help me, and it would help me get hurt as well as that other person. In a lot of states, to do something like that is a Class C felony license. So while it might seem like a great thing to have, just to kind of stay back and make sure nothing happens. Um, yeah, grab things. And again, guys, your kids, your teenagers, they do not know this. And with the world being so small, people who want to say it was easier or harder when I was raising kids, they're not paying attention. It's a lot harder now. And I think a part of the biggest problem is their world is so small. Everybody they meet is not a stranger because they get together online, they get together on Facebook. Really teach them to take advantage of their surroundings. In our area, there are only a few full police officers, and they have a huge area in Bristol, UK. Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna tell you, we did not encourage our children to become police officers. We have one that went into law enforcement and one that went to banking, and it's just not something. It went from, you know, I said I was never gonna date a cop ever. I grew up with my grandfather being, a sheriff. My dad's an attorney, was a judge. I was never gonna date a police officer. And one of the reasons that I actually ended up dating my husband was because I saw him arrest somebody and saw how nice he was about it and respectful, because in the security industry I worked before banking, I didn't see a lot of that. So that's actually how we started dating, which is kind of funny. Jules, I had a policeman knock on our door. He wanted to take photos of a van, but needed access to the downstairs window. I was on my own, so I checked the police station. He was legit, but I wasn't comfortable. Yeah, and most of them, if they are legit and it's a non-emergency, they're fine with you calling and checking up on them. I would absolutely do that. The other thing is at night, make sure that it's not obvious that you're alone. Um, when it comes to the windows, I'm notoriously bad about closing curtains. My husband's constantly doing it behind me, especially if I was here by myself. Um, yeah. And Linda brought up her prior porter did the matching dollars because we do want to help people, because you never know when you're going to be in the situation of the people that you're trying to help. So you don't want to turn a cold heart to that, but at the same time, you want to make sure your money's going where it's supposed to go. Absolutely. Looking for anything else. Yeah, Jules, I think I read this earlier, but I get a lot of email scams yet increasing. Yeah, police organizations, CMS, seem to be this time of year a big thing when it comes to scams. I get a lot of calls on that. Basically, if I don't know, Allegra can tell you, if I don't know the number, I don't answer the phone. I let it go to voicemail. And then if it's somebody that I think I know, I'll call them back. I'm not big on answering my phone. I'm a telemarketer's worst nightmare because if I don't know who you are, I'm not answering. So, all right, guys, we're hitting about the six. Again, I appreciate this was a little pitch hit today because, like I said, my regular guest did not come on. Aaron, we do not want ours to go to UK Army. Was an Army wife way too long. Yep. And a lot of times people don't think about, when there's something happening and you are married to law enforcement, a lot of times you're on your own, whether you're the husband or wife or whichever. CMS, I've been text a lot of scams. Yep. Carrie, good night. I appreciate you and I appreciate you taking the time to listen. She said she's going to bed. May the Faye, I like the fact that my phone automatically goes to voicemail if it's a non-contact number. Yeah. My phone I use for business too, But even with business, I don't answer it if I don't know who it is. T Rocks, thanks for such a great scream. I appreciate you guys. Again, I'm getting used to this. I think this is my third one, so I'm getting the cadence and how everything works. So I appreciate you guys bearing with me. All right, guys, I am going to wind up. I'm trying to keep these in an hour, partly because I'm learning and then because I want to be respectful of everybody's time. I do have some guests lined up um, next week. We've got some mods that are going to come on as well and talk about modding. Because when you're modding for several YouTube channels, sounds great when you get that wrench, but then what do you do after you get the wrench often becomes the thing. So all right. Well, I appreciate you guys. Got some new videos coming out. Got some coming out this week. I appreciate everybody taking the time to come in. I know it's Sunday night, but like I said, I'm getting used to this. Thank you guys. Wherever you are, good morning, good afternoon, good night. Make sure you take care and you stay safe. Thank you.